It's Wednesday, May 1st, 2024. Thanks for joining me today. Please make sure to like, share, subscribe, hit that bell notification down below. I'm going to share some news with you today. Jotted down some notes, printed up some articles, grab a coffee, grab a refreshment, sit down, hang out. Let's go over some of this news today. Feel free to comment down below on any of this. I'll start with this first article from CNBC. Dow closes higher as Powell says Fed's next move is unlikely to be a hike. These markets are looking for any type of hopium. Markets were pretty flat till Jerome Powell came out and said that it's unlikely that they're going to hike this year. Dow Jones skyrocketed to 533 points. But in the last hour of trading, it pulled back, closed up only 87 points. NASDAQ was down 52. 10-year bond yield sitting at 4.64%. Gold had a very nice day, up $27, sitting at $2,330. Silver up 27 cents, knocking at the door to $27. Bitcoin got as low as $56,000 today. It's sitting right now as I make this video at $57,000. So it's about $18,000 from its high. So, you know, people are always telling me I should be buying some Bitcoin. I could not deal with this kind of volatility. I don't think that it's battle tested. It has not been through a depression. It has not been through a world war. It has not been through currency collapse. It hasn't even been through a recession. And so I'm going to stick with gold. I'm going to stick with the precious metals. People out there can do whatever they want to do. I don't give financial advice, but the volatility that we're seeing in Bitcoin is absolutely nothing that I want to deal with. So look, if you're making money at it, God bless you. I hope you're pulling some of it out, but huge volatility. Next article from CNBC, the Federal Reserve holds interest rates. But before we even go to this article, really quick, let me backtrack. These markets are just looking for keywords. The algorithm is looking for just certain keywords so that these markets can find some kind of hopium to play off of. Jerome Powell said that it's unlikely that we're going to have a hike, but he didn't say it was out of the question either. They're in very, very big trouble. And the markets at this point have ruled out any type of fundamentals. The markets are completely detached from reality. They're detached from the U.S. economy. They're detached from the average household in this country. They are looking for keywords. They're looking for hope. That's it. They don't care about you losing your jobs. The markets don't care really about the economy. They don't care about anything. The only thing these markets are looking for is a rate cut. And they now will take not having a rate hike this year as great news and going up to 533 points on the Dow, but then pulling back. It seemed like it didn't. The sugar high didn't last very long. Became a hangover very, very quickly. But it's just shocking that these markets are ignoring what's happening to the U.S. economy, to the average U.S. household, what's happening with all this debt, what's happening geopolitically, what's happening to the leadership here, what is happening to the U.S. economy does not even matter. The Federal Reserve holds interest rates steady, offers no relief from high borrowing costs. What that means for your money, this on CNBC. For consumers, it's generally won't get less expensive to carry credit card debt, to buy a house, to buy a car. These things are going to continue to get more expensive. They're saying higher for longer. It's also going to be very, very bad for small business because small businesses need to borrow money. If a business needs to expand, it needs to borrow money. If somebody wants to open a small business, they need to borrow money to open that small business. It's very expensive to borrow money. And we're seeing more and more people who need to borrow money for a business, to buy a house, to buy a car. They're being denied. They're being turned down. And that is going to happen more and more. The hedge today, FOMC leaves rates unchanged, says bigger than expected QT taper to start in June. In June, the Fed will slow the pace of decline of its security holdings by reducing the monthly redemption cap on Treasury securities from $60 billion to $25 billion. So think about this. The Fed has roughly $7.5 trillion on its balance sheet, and they're already slowing the reduction. I thought that they were going to continue tightening QT, but now they're going to reduce that. And by doing that, that is telling you and I that inflation is not going anywhere. How can you reduce inflation when you have a $7.5 trillion balance sheet? The Fed is supposed to be draining liquidity from the financial systems through QT, but the Fed is providing $155 billion in liquidity via its overnight credit facilities. They're providing more liquidity now than they were after the crash of the financial, back in the financial crisis of 2009. So how is inflation going away? Jerome Powell was saying today that he's going to get inflation down to 2% this year. He is out of his mind. It is never going to happen. One thing he doesn't address, and he won't address, is the U.S. government is spending money hand over fist. We're sending hundreds of billions of dollars all over the world. We have all the special interests we're spending billions on. How in the world is Jerome Powell going to stop inflation when the U.S. government is outspending him 10 to 1? He won't address it. He's not going to say anything. But I find it very confusing when the Fed is raising rates and the U.S. government is spending hundreds of billions of dollars. And we're running these huge deficits, huge debts. How in the world is this going to work? I mean, it is literally like the Fed, by raising rates, is just spinning their wheels at this point. I think Jerome Powell has to have a meeting with the U.S. government. He needs to come out and say something. He needs to address this, that if they're going to raise rates, the spending has got to stop by the U.S. government, because if it doesn't, inflation is going to get absolutely out of control. And then when it does, my fear is that the Fed will cave in, and then they will begin to cut rates, and then you're going to invite hyperinflation into America. Then at that point, it's end game. It's over. I believe, in my opinion, it would be better to cut spending, raise interest rates. It is going to force America into a depression, and it would probably be a really bad one. But I would rather be in a depression than deal with hyperinflation, because I don't think we could ever get out of that hyperinflation. We're jeopardizing the world reserve currency, the U.S. dollar, at that point. We're going to lose a lot of our power, our control, and of course our standard of living if we begin to invite hyperinflation into this country. Inflation is bad enough, but if you let this genie out of the bottle, which they may do, that, it's going to be really, really bad. So I hope all of you are paying attention and watching what's going on. Here's another one. Google lays off hundreds of core employees, moves some positions to India and Mexico. So that's another 200. How many more? Who's next? I don't know. Here's another one. CNBC. Long predicted consumer pullback finally hits restaurants like Starbucks, KFC, and McDonald's. We were talking a little bit about this yesterday. And thanks for all the comments on yesterday's video. A lot of people commenting on the high cost, the high price of going out to eat, fast food, the Starbucks, and all of that. Myself personally, I've always enjoyed going out to eat, and sometimes I don't eat the best, but I've really been trying to do better, making my own coffees at home. I always make my own breakfast at home. Typically, for the majority of time, make my own dinner at home. Lunch is a tough one, but I'm doing more at home, trying to cut out going out to eat for lunch and doing more right here. And of course, always trying to eat a little bit better, stay hydrated, just eat a better quality of food, best that I can. And it's cheaper to just do it at home. But this is going to be another problem for the U.S. economy, because more people are going to lose their jobs at these restaurants. We're going to see more restaurants close. That will mean more vacant buildings. That's going to be bad for the commercial real estate industry, for the apocalypse that's taking place there. But it's going to be bad for these people who have a career in leisure and hospitality and the service industry. These are now career jobs. unfortunately, believe it or not, working at McDonald's, KFC, Taco Bell, Jack in the Box, Starbucks, these are now career jobs for a lot of people. These are not jobs that, you know, high school kids used to take on, or college kids or retirees. These are now careers where people will work 20 hours at McDonald's, then they'll go across the street and work 20 hours at Burger King. That's the new career that people have today. And people are going to lose hours. They're going to lose their jobs. These places are going to close. And comment down below, are you seeing restaurants in your area, maybe fast food restaurants? I think we're going to see a lot of these well-known fast food restaurants close down. A lot of these are franchises owned by individuals that, you know, own a couple, 2, 3, 4 McDonald's. They may have to close one or two. Are you seeing any closures in your area right now? If you have, comment down below. Is it a small mom and pop? Is it a McDonald's? Is it a Burger King? I think we're going to see a lot of these closing down, and this is going to put more pressure on regional banks with commercial real estate. And of course, it puts more pressure on the average household because people are losing their jobs. And obviously, people are pulling back. They're not going out to eat as much. They're not going to the Starbucks. Here's one from the Hedge today. Starbucks on the brink of worst crash since .com after stunning earnings miss. The stock today down 15.8%. Year to date, they are down 20.5%. This, to me, is telling us something more than Jerome Powell, because Jerome Powell won't tell us the truth. He is walking right down the middle of the tiger's back. He is trying to do everything he can not to ruffle any feathers, not to have any blowback in these markets. He is walking right down the middle. But this is telling us something. When you're beginning to see people not go to fast food restaurants, and when people are not going to Starbucks and spending, you know, $8, $10, $12, whatever it is. I haven't been to a Starbucks in many, many years. I think I've had 3 Starbucks in my entire life. Not my favorite place. Don't believe in what they believe in. We'll never give them a dime. Stay away from them. But this is telling us, because, you know, it's been a trend for many, many years. It's almost been a cult following of Starbucks. People got to have their Starbucks. And from what I was told, it's the lowest 3% of coffee quality out there. So you're overpaying for a very, very low quality coffee. But needless to say, this is telling us something when people are not getting their Starbucks. They are cutting off their addiction to Starbucks. This is how bad the economy is getting, and people are now forced to make some serious decisions. Do they pay the light bill, or are they going to Starbucks, you know, 10 times this month? They're paying the light bill, it looks like. So we'll see what happens. Are we going to see some Starbucks closing down? When you begin to see Starbucks closing down, you know things are getting bad. Here's one from allwork.space. 1 in 4 Americans fear losing their job this year. This cannot be good for any part of the economy, especially housing. A lot of people are not going to buy a house when they're in fear of losing their job this year. If they don't have job security, they're not going to apply for a mortgage. They're not going to buy a home. In fact, they're more likely to sell their house if they think they're going to lose their job. But 1 in 4 Americans fear losing their job this year. An additional 32% fear that their skills are not up to date for advancement. So, you know, when I read something like this, it just reinforces what I've been saying, what all of you have been saying. Most of these people have nothing to fall back on. They don't have skills to fall back on. They don't have money to fall back on. They don't have cash reserves. I've been saying for years that I think it's extremely important to have 6 to 12 months of cash reserves put away in case you or a spouse loses a job. Can you pay the mortgage, the rent, the car payments, the credit card payments, the utilities, etc.? You have to have 6 to 12 months put away. Nobody is immune from losing their job. Nobody is immune. This is no doubt the worst economy I've ever seen in my life. The volatility that we're seeing in these markets, the layoffs we're seeing daily now, you need to be preparing for this volatility. You need to be preparing to lose your job. I pray to God that you don't, but as I've said many times, if you have a reserve put away and you or your spouse loses a job, you're going to be okay. You can sit back, you can breathe, you have time to find another job, you can make the adjustments that you need to make. For the person or persons that don't have any money put away And if they or a spouse loses a job today, the bills are coming in today. The bills have to be paid. They have no money. What do? They are going to go into panic mode. It's going to be chaos. Their life is going to be flipped upside down today. Versus the person who has 6 to 12 months put away, they can breathe. They can sort it out. They're not gonna panic. But the person with no money, with no reserves, they're going to freak out. They're going to be in panic mode because tomorrow the bill's got to be paid and they have no money. So be preparing. And this may mean cutting certain things out of your life, lowering your lifestyle, living below your means. I've said this for many, many years. If you make $100,000 a year, live like you're making 50. You make 50, live like you're making 25. This is what you have to do right now until this whole thing blows over, and hopefully it does. But this depression that I think we're in right now that has begun, this is not going to be over in a year or 2 years. It's going to get much, much worse. And we don't know how much worse it's going to get. It could get really, really bad. How long it stays bad is another question, but this is not going to blow over in 6 months or a year, ladies and gentlemen. And if you have the ability to be preparing right now, it's what you should be doing. CNBC, United Health CEO estimates 1/3 of Americans could be impacted by Change Healthcare cyber attack. This was very, very interesting. I believe this attack happened back in mid-February. The company paid a $22 million ransom, and 1/3 of Americans could have been affected, they're saying. I bring this up today because we are so vulnerable. And I think about, people having all their money on a computer screen, all their cryptos, their digital money, their stock portfolio, their bank balances, everything is on a computer. And just think if one day all that was gone. What if the internet was down? What if a major cyber attack hit the financial system and you could not access your bank accounts, savings accounts, ETFs, your stock portfolios, your mutual funds, your retirements, everything was just gone? What would you do? What would you do? And to think that that couldn't happen, they're saying right here today in this article on CNBC, mainstream news, United Health CEO estimates 1/3 of Americans could be impacted by Change Healthcare cyber attack. That's a lot of people. And to think that they could not or will not hit financial systems right here in America, you are sadly mistaken. And your worst case scenario is you turn on that computer and your accounts are gone. How do you pay the bills? How do you survive? How do you eat? I mean, this is where we're at. We need to be thinking about this. I would say don't have all your money. Don't have all your money sitting in a computer. Don't have all your money in the system because they're coming after the system. And we're going to see more of these attacks take place as we head deeper into 2024, as more hostility builds in Taiwan, the Middle East, Eastern Europe. I mean, it is just a matter of time before something very epic takes place. Don't be a victim of this. Be a bit diversified. Don't be all in the system. South Korea's central bank says may buy gold in the mid to long term. The Bank of Korea said it offered gold, that is, offered a hedge against inflation and an alternative to the US dollar. This is what South Korea's central bank is saying. And so when I read this, again, it reinforces my belief in gold, and gold's been holding steady. And if you've been listening to me for 7 years and you bought some gold, you've probably done very, very well. If you bought some silver, you've done well. You've protected your wealth. It has not gone to zero. It's worth more than it was back then. And it's going to continue to be worth more and more as the system continues to break down, as the dollar is now challenged by the BRICS nations, and the possibility of some gold-backed currencies taking place across the world, and these new financial systems that are being introduced right now across the world. So I would be really paying attention to what's going on. If you need some gold, you need some silver, check out my link down below, SD Bullion. Been dealing with them for over 6 years. You can buy from whoever you want to buy from, but I'm a big believer of owning real things. I was talking to Aaron today from Texas Silver and just talking about simplicity. You know, gold is unhackable, untrackable, untrackable, and untaxable. And so it has a lot to offer. It's very simple. It's extremely liquid. You can go anywhere in the world and people anywhere on planet Earth look at gold and they know what it is and it's real money. And it still buys food and water during collapses, economic collapses like it did in Zimbabwe. Like it did in South and Central America and still does, where massive hyperinflation is taking place. An ounce of gold still buys food, water, and housing. So I think it's extremely important to be diversified and just have simple things. If the power goes out, the lights go out, your computer doesn't work, guess what? Gold still works. There's still somebody out there who will give you another asset like food, like water, like land for gold. That's how it works, and that's how it's worked for 5,000 years. So if you need some, check out my link, SD Bullion, or buy it whoever you want to buy it from, or don't buy it at all. Go buy, go buy baseball cards, buy cryptos, buy whatever your heart desires. But I'm going to continue buying gold. I believe in it because I know it will never be worth zero. And you want something that has been tested. Unlike, to me, cryptos like Bitcoin, it's never been tested. Gold has been tested for 5,000 years. It's not going anywhere. And when you see what South Korea is doing, what China is doing, what Russia is doing, what India is doing, what Saudi Arabia is doing, what the BRICS nations are doing, to me it is a no-brainer that I will continue buying gold. Another article today, and I will finish with this last one. And I was told about this. I have some friends in the Sheriff's Department out here in Riverside, and I was told about this many months ago. And now it's come out in the news. Riverside County Sheriff's deputy caught trafficking fentanyl for Sinaloa cartel. And I bring this up because here we go with the system. That so many people just believe that when the lights go out, the power's out, that somehow that if something happens, that they're just going to call for help and you're going to get somebody from the Sheriff's Department. And this is no bash on the Sheriff's Department. We have some really good deputies out here, and Riverside Sheriff's Department, to me, I've got a lot of friends there, and it's a very good department. But they are under siege because of the underfunding or the defunding. They have to lower standards. People are slipping through the cracks like this. And so now you have somebody involved in the Sinaloa cartel working as a deputy for the Riverside Sheriff's Department. And this guy got caught bringing in 100 pounds of fentanyl months ago. And it happened right out here in Calamasa, not very far away. And then on top of that, we just recently, a few weeks ago, had a San Bernardino deputy arrested for doing some dealings with a motorcycle club, a well-known motorcycle club out here. And so I bring this up because we're witnessing these agencies now that so many people rely on. Look at the people now working in these agencies, and of course, most of them are very good people. This is not to downgrade the Sheriff's Department in San Bernardino or Riverside, but because of the defunding, because of lower standards, we are witnessing people slip through the cracks, working for these agencies, people that you and I rely on, that if we have an emergency, we're going to call, and we hope and pray that these are the best trained pillars of the community, right? Wrong. So this is why I say you need to be your own security detail. This is why you need to have your own security. This is why you need to be able to take care of yourself. These departments, these agencies, the quality is slipping. Morale is slipping. A lot of people don't even want to do these jobs anymore. And the people that do may have a different reason for doing these jobs and getting into these departments, infiltrating these departments. So we rely on this, but these agencies, unfortunately, are also decaying. And people just think that they're going to pick up the phone and they're going to get somebody to help them. But we're going to see more infiltration of departments across the country. We're seeing it in the military too, where you have these cartels now coming over, trying to get in to these departments, into the military, and we're going to see more of it. And so this is a bit concerning. And so I think you need to be out of the system the most that you can be financially, and even with your security. Don't be reliant on the police to come save you. They may not be able to do it. And when you have people like this in the department, do you want these kind of people coming to your house? Is this what we want coming to our house? These are the people that may come and rob you at some point. You know, this is really concerning. We now have people in organized crime, motorcycle clubs, notorious ones. We have people in cartels working as deputies right out here in San Bernardino and Riverside, people that are supposed to be protecting us, pillars of the community, people who are supposed to be upholding the law, and these are the biggest outlaws out there. Be careful. Don't be reliant on these agencies, on these departments, because they're going to get more corrupted as things get worse. So be careful. Be able to defend yourself, take care of yourself, get your body in shape. Make sure that your body can protect you, because you may not have a pew-pew or a tool to do it, and maybe the situation doesn't call for it. So can your body protect you? Make sure that you have those combative defensive skills and that you're training them and getting proficient with them. It's very, very important. I'm going to leave it there today. God bless every one of you. Please like, share, subscribe, and be praying for America, ladies and gentlemen. We are in big trouble. We need a miracle. And if something doesn't happen soon, America is going to be finished. It really, really is. We are really in big trouble. God bless.